Welcome, I'm Nova, and this is Nova News. Today is August 4th, 2024. Nova News is a weekly newscast about the latest developments related to emerging technologies with direct and indirect implications for homeland security. This week's news features involve weather prediction models, biotechnology, quantum computing, blockchain innovation, Air Force uncrewed jets, AI regulations, and chip manufacturing. Let's get started. Our first three stories come from the MIT Review. James O'Donnell from the MIT Review reports that a new weather prediction model from Google is set to combine AI with traditional physics. Google DeepMind researchers have built a new weather prediction model called Neural GCN. It combines machine learning with more conventional techniques, potentially yielding accurate forecasts at a fraction of the current cost, and bridging a divide between traditional physics and AI that's grown between weather prediction experts in the last several years. What's the big deal? While new machine learning techniques that predict weather by learning from years of past data are extremely fast and efficient, they can struggle with long-term predictions. General circulation models, on the other hand, which have dominated weather prediction for the last 50 years, use complex equations to model changes in the atmosphere. They give accurate projections, but are exceedingly slow and expensive to run. While experts are divided on which tool will be most reliable going forward, the new model from Google attempts to combine the two. The result is a model that can produce quality predictions faster with less computational power. In biotechnology news, Cassandra Williard from MIT Review highlights the need for vaccine production processes that don't rely on chicken eggs. The age-old question is, which came first, the chicken or the egg? If we want to improve our vaccine production, Williard says we'll have to stop relying on chicken eggs. As of last week, bird flu infected cows in 9 states, millions of chickens, and a second dairy worker in the U.S. experienced bird flu. There's no indication that the virus has acquired the mutations it would need to demonstrate the spillover effect between humans, but the possibility of another pandemic has health officials on high alert. Last week, health officials stated they are working to get 4.8 million doses of H5N1 bird flu vaccine packaged into vials as a precautionary measure. There's good news and bad news. The good news first. The good news is that we are much more prepared for a bird flu outbreak than for COVID-19. We have a lot more knowledge about influenza compared to coronaviruses, and we already have hundreds of thousands of doses of a bird flu vaccine sitting in the nation's stockpile. The bad news is that we would need over 600 million doses to vaccinate everyone in the U.S., with each person needing 2 shots. The process we typically use to make flu vaccines takes months and relies on a large number of chicken eggs. Yes, chickens, one of the birds susceptible to avian flu. It's like putting all our eggs in one basket. But how did we end up with this method? To understand this, let's look back at our 80-year-old vaccine production process for flu vaccines. Frank McFarlane Burnett, an Australian virologist, came up with the idea of growing the flu virus in fertilized chicken eggs. In 1936, he found that by creating a small hole in the shell of a chicken egg and injecting flu virus between the shell and the inner membrane, he could make the virus replicate. The process of growing flu virus remains largely unchanged even to this day. I think a lot of it has to do with the already there infrastructure, explains Scott Hensley, an immunologist at the University of Pennsylvania's Perelman School of Medicine. He also points out that it's challenging for companies to change their approach. There is evidence to suggest that vaccines made without eggs might be more effective than those made with eggs. A study found that people who received Flucelvax or Flublok had stronger antibody responses compared to those who received egg-based flu vaccines. Research is being done on an mRNA vaccine for bird flu, which has shown promising results in animals. Although it's impossible to predict when a pandemic flu vaccine might be required, it's important to be prepared to respond rapidly if such a situation arises. From chicken eggs to quantum computing. PsiQuantum plans to build the biggest quantum computing facility in Chicago. Sarah Ward reports that PsiQuantum says it will house a quantum computer containing up to 1 million quantum bits, or qubits, within the next 10 years. At the moment, the largest quantum computers have around 1,000 qubits. However, significant hurdles lie ahead. Building the infrastructure for this facility, particularly the cooling system, will be the slowest and most expensive aspect of the construction. When the facility is finally constructed, improvements will need to be made in the quantum algorithms run on the computers, as existing ones are too expensive and resource-intensive. We'll be watching this story as the facility is being built. While the world has been enjoying the Olympics this week, according to Bloomberg News, vandals were busy cutting fiber optic cables to disrupt the event. 5 lines were cut, although the Olympics experienced no disruption. Trying to stay ahead of nefarious actors is a constant job. However, California is trying to make it harder to disrupt services by building a DMV-run blockchain for storing and transferring vehicle titles built using Avalanche L1 technology. Vehicle owners can claim their digital titles in the DMV's mobile wallet app, reducing unnecessary trips to the post office in DMV and reducing transfer times from 2 weeks to a few minutes. It is one of the first projects in California's vision of incorporating blockchain into government operations. Guided by a cultural shift in the global economy, governments and enterprise organizations across industries are embracing alternative technologies that solve complex problems using highly scalable, customizable blockchains. So, what is blockchain and how can it help the government? Blockchain is a method of recording information that makes it impossible or difficult for the system to be changed, hacked, or manipulated. Additionally, a blockchain is a distributed ledger that duplicates and distributes transactions across the network of computers participating in the blockchain. This emerging technology holds promise for cybersecurity for both government and private businesses. Laura Bratton at Quartz reported that the U.S. Air Force is preparing to integrate AI pilots into its operations. 5 developers of AI systems have been awarded contracts to create uncrewed aircraft that will work alongside human-operated fighter jets. This initiative is part of the Air Force's Collaborative Combat Aircraft Program, with the goal of deploying 1,000 AI-powered uncrewed aircraft by 2030. While the recipients of the AI systems contracts remain undisclosed, General Atomics and Anduril are set to manufacture the actual aircraft. Both companies are actively working on developing prototypes for this innovative project. Now let's move on to some geopolitical news. The White House is promoting open-source artificial intelligence technology, arguing in a report Tuesday that there is no immediate need to restrict companies from making key components of their powerful AI systems widely available. Matt O'Brien from the Associated Press News reports, "A year ago, there was a strong narrative about risk and long-term concerns about AI systems being too powerful," said Davidson, administrator of the National Telecommunications and Information Administration. "We continue to have concerns about AI safety, but this report reflects a more balanced view that shows that there are real benefits in the openness of these technologies." The NTIA's report says current evidence is insufficient to warrant restrictions on AI models with widely available weights. Weights are numerical values that influence how an AI model performs. However, it also says that United States officials must continue to monitor potential dangers and take steps to ensure that the government is prepared to act if heightened risks emerge. Meanwhile, the EU's AI Act is now in effect as of August 1st, according to Brittany Nguyen from Quartz. The EU's Landmark Act is the first major AI law in the world. This landmark law, the first of its kind, addresses a global technological challenge that also creates opportunities for our societies and economies, Mathieu Michel, Belgian State Secretary for Digitalization, said. With the AI Act, Europe emphasizes the importance of trust, transparency, and accountability when dealing with new technologies, while at the same time ensuring this fast-changing technology can flourish and boost European innovation. Although the AI Act is EU legislation, it will majorly impact global tech companies, especially in the U.S. However, most of the Act's provisions will not be in effect until 2026, and companies have months to comply. Our final story is about chip manufacturing, as reported by Will Knight in Wired magazine. He interviews Lori E. Locascio, the Undersecretary of Standards and Technology at the Department of Commerce and Director of the National Institute of Standards and Technologies. the U.S. needs to develop new chip manufacturing techniques to maintain its dominance in AI technology. She emphasizes the importance of inventing new chip designs and manufacturing techniques to ensure U.S. leadership in AI, especially focusing on chip packaging to enhance performance. Locascio also highlights the critical need for advanced chips, not only for AI, but for a wide range of industries. During the COVID-19 pandemic, there was a shortage of basic chips, but now the focus has shifted to advancing AI chips to meet the demand created by the rapidly growing influence of AI in various sectors. Faster AI chips are crucial to AI companies' efforts to build more powerful AI. How is that need shaping investment in next-gen manufacturing? Locascio said NIST has really focused some of our thinking in certain areas. For example, as we're thinking about how we're going to spend the $3 billion associated with advanced packaging, we are really now thinking about the AI problem. We understand how important packaging could be for that particular problem set. I would say it has really focused some of our thinking in certain areas, both on the manufacturing side and the R&D side. So, why is packaging and fitting different components together so important? Maybe it sounds like a mundane topic, but packaging enables the development of three-dimensional chip architectures that will really accelerate the power of AI chips and will help to build out the AI revolution. We just announced a $1.6 billion notice of intent for funding. It's really focused in many areas, but the power requirements and thermal requirements associated with AI chips are really important. Materials and substrates are really critical too, and we need to think about how new types of materials can fit into new architectures. Hyperscale computing, how you connect chips together inside data centers, is also important. That's going to do it for this week's broadcast. Thank you for joining us at Nova News. Stay tuned for more updates and in-depth coverage of these and other stories. Until then, stay informed and stay curious.